Yeah, you're listening to Independent TV 7. 20 broke a lot of this from Okonjo Iweala, former Minister of Finance and the current Director General of the World Trade Organization (WTO), Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, the former Minister of Finance in Nigeria and current Director General of the World Trade Organization (WTO), Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has said a lot of trust was broken following the conduct of the 2023 general elections. Okonjo-Iweala made this known on Monday at an induction ceremony organized for elected governors in Abuja, the nation's capital. Ngozi said no government can achieve growth and progress without first of all building trust, adding that there cannot be nation building without its citizens trusting their political leaders. She said, if taking the wider global context into account is one prerequisite for successful nation building, another prerequisite is trust and a sense of common purpose, a sense of human and a sense of belonging. I remain convinced that a better future is within our collective gap. But to move ahead and seize this, and we will need political and business leaders at the state and national levels to form a compact in pursuit of pro-growth and pro-development policies. Before we continue, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is expressing her plight, though she was the former Minister of Finance in Nigeria, and when she was the minister, I believe for those that were following knows what the government talks about during the era of PDP, in Obasanjo's debt. I would say during Obasanjo administration, she cleared the debt. She was the once said finance minister who cleared the debt of the country, due to Obasanjo's administration and policy. The former Minister of Finance and current Director General of the World Trade Organization (WTO), Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has said a lot of trust was broken following the conduct of the 2023 general elections. Okonjo-Iweala made this known on Monday at an induction ceremony organized for elected governors in Abuja, the nation's capital. Ngozi said no government can achieve growth and progress without first of all building trust, adding that there cannot be nation building without the citizens trusting their political leaders. And that is what boils down to loving oneself as though, or loving another person as though yourself. You love your neighbor as yourself. Though if there is trust, there will be between the government or the political leader and the country. Okonjo-Iweala made this known on Monday at an induction ceremony organized for elected governors in Abuja, the nation's capital. Then, Ngozi said no government can achieve growth and progress without first of all building trust, loving one other as though ourselves, exchanging pleasantries, allocating, with due process, allocating, infrastructural projects to other party or NGO or an organization with trust, adding that there cannot be nation building without the citizens trusting their political leaders. She said if taking the wider global context into account is one prerequisite for successful nation building, another prerequisite is also trust and a sense of common purpose. I remain convinced that a better future is within our collective gap, but to move ahead and seize it, we will need political and business leaders at the state and national levels to form a compact in pursuit of pro-growth and pro-development policies. We ought to be seeking to double our growth rate and sustain that higher growth until we attain upper middle income status. We can also aim to double Nigeria's share of world trade from 0.33% to 0.66% within a decade. To build such a compact, we also need trust. Nation building is impossible in the absence of trust, perhaps especially so in Nigeria. Even before independence, the generation of leaders that led us to freedom identify how important trust would be to our nation's success. Honorable governors, honorable leaders, honorable political leaders, honorable political party members, honorable a religious leader, honorable traditional leader, honorable political powers and those that said though they were and they are still there. Honorable governors, let us be candid. Trust in Nigeria has always been fragile, but following the election, a lot of trust has been broken. Nigeria is a country with no social contract, meaning that Nigerian political leaders have never been able to agree with each other's benefits or with each other to stick to a common set of principles, values, goals, or policy, and political prowess. As per following the system that consistently deliver for their citizens and regardless of ethnic group or political persuasion. The former Minister of Finance said the governors elect needs to rebuild trust through their programs to regain the support of Nigerians. She also added, Excellencies, you have a lot of healing to do within your state and between them. Through your words, deeds, and policies, you need to demonstrate to Nigerians that they are equally loved. Bam! That is a key point because she was talking about trust. Then, if there is a word that said, love your neighbor as yourself, the iota of love in there is the, noun or adjective or pronoun or whichever, phrase you want to use. Now, that they can settle and do business in any part of the country without fear. I love Nigeria deeply and I want to feel welcome in any part of this country. Just as different states need to rebuild perceptions among people across Nigeria, we collectively need to rebuild the Nigerian brand in the wider regional and international economy. Narratives about countries matter for capital allocation decisions, especially for emerging markets and developing economies. When we have presented a positive story in the past, backed by a credible reform trajectory, foreign investment has followed. And when we have shown that we are cognizant that we account for around 7%, about 7% of the West African sub-regions GDP and 23% of sub-Saharan Africa's GDP. Wow. And we have run our country and economic responsibly to benefit not just us, but the region and sub-region we have gathered respectively. Now, we must also continue to recognize that Nigeria has an outside role to play. Nigeria has an outside role to play at home and abroad, and that's what it is. And we must manage our country better, not just for any reason, but better, for good and for the best. Now, again, we must continue to recognize that Nigeria has an outside role to play here at home and abroad. And we must also manage our country better, not just for ourselves, but also for the rest of Africa. That's the word coming from Okonjo, Iweala. I would like us to, deliberate on this matter because when Okonjo Iweala was the finance minister, we knew and we saw what she did at her home. Well, there is not much being said. I would say this way I'm going to draw the curtain, and I would like you to share your views also in the comment section. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.